Welcome back, Game and App Development students. It's time for our third session of core learning in Unity. We're going to ramp things up a bit in this section and learn a whole bunch of new things that are slightly more complicated. We're going to save the most complicated topics till our last two core sections, but we're going to ramp things up after this video. For now, I want to introduce you to a couple basic ideas that are at the center of what we're learning in this section. And the two ideas are object interactions as well as the use of hierarchies. And we're going to start now with hierarchies. I've hidden away part of a scene I've already pre-made. I'm actually going to be doing this section slightly differently than the previous ones. I'm going to try to spend less time writing code live and wasting your time by having you watch me type things out. I'm just going to have things pre-built, and I'm going to take you through a tour explaining it. I'm actually going to provide you some of my project files to import to explore and look alongside these tutorial videos so that you can don't have to type so much out yourself. You can just poke around and explore, and then you can save that time for your own development later. Anyway, on to this really brief lesson. Previously in Unity, we have been using this create empty idea in a small way, just for organization. Let me show you what I mean. Maybe I can make two cubes here. I'm going to create two cubes, and I'm going to not make it bigger. I'm just going to move them so that they're clearly two separate things floating in space here. All right. And what I can do with this empty game object, remember I made create empty, I'm going to call this cube manager, or just maybe cubes to keep it simple. And then what I'm going to do is select both of my cubes and package them up inside of this cube's empty object. What is this empty object? What is this? And what is it doing when we package these things underneath it? If you studied coding with me previously, you know about something called inheritance. And inheritance means that the parent might have properties that the children inherit from. And that's kind of what's going on here, especially when we're getting to scripts. But another component of inheritance in this way is that everything packaged up inside of this kind of parent level object is going to have some properties that are shared as a result of being packaged up underneath it. And in this case, the most obvious one, well, the only component we have on this parent is a transform. And if I change the parent transform, both child objects move in the same manner. They're kind of bound within the scope of this parent object. It's almost like, think of this cubes as being a suitcase or a backpack, and each of these cubes being different things that you put inside of them. If you place, I don't know, maybe it's your awesome floral swimming suit and a towel in two different spots in this suitcase, but then you close it up and you move the suitcase around, both of your swimming suit and your towel move with the suitcase, but they stay in the same position relative to one another because they're kind of crammed in the suitcase. And hopefully it makes sense. Maybe I add a different type of thing, the sphere. Maybe this is, I don't know, sunglasses. If I don't put it in the suitcase, they're sitting outside of it. But if I package it inside and then I move the actual suitcase, this cubes thing, then everything moves together. So all the things are kind of packaged up. And what this means is that I could consider, I don't know, taking these cubes individually, and maybe I want to resize this one, making it a little bit bigger, a little bit fatter, and then I want to move this. And it's kind of looking like kind of a composite object in a way where I have maybe, I could consider this, let's flatten it out a little bit. I don't know, a torso with like arms. You see what I'm getting at? Maybe this should go up here. It's like a body with arms, and it's hard to stretch things from this perspective here. And there we go. And now I have something that's like a pseudo-personish look. And now if I go back to the actual parent suitcase, all of it moves at once. And if I rotate it, all of it rotates together. And if I resize it, all of it resizes together. So I've made a whole bunch of individual distinct things, but they have some shared properties. And I can use that to my advantage when I'm moving things around in my world. Let me give you a sneak preview. I'm going to go to my first person player, and I'm going to show you some of these different components in the next video in a little bit more detail. But this first person player, when I move it, and when I rotate it, all the components move and rotate together, meaning that I can bind my controls to the parent, to the actual first person player. And you'll notice that I have a player movement script here. It has a bunch of other stuff we'll deal with later. And whatever I apply to this layer makes everything inside of it follow suit, making overall controls a bit easier to manage. In the next video, I'll show you a bit more detail about this, and I'll help guide you in building your own custom, more advanced object.